Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Muhammad Fatul Rahman Adamapialsyah. I'm from 6 ICP. Today I want to retell a story about seven brothers. In ancient times, in a village in the area of Nangro Aceh, there was a husband and wife who had seven small sons. The oldest child is 10 years old, while the youngest is 2 years old. To fulfill their daily needs, the husband and wife grow vegetables to be eaten daily, and the rest is sold to the market. Even though they are mediocre, their lives are always in harmony, peace, and serenity. At one time, their village was hit by a prolonged dry season. All plants died from drought. The villagers began to lack food. Their food supplies are running low day by day, while the dry season never ends. In the end, the entire population of the village suffered from hunger, including a family of a husband and wife and their seven children. Seeing this situation, the husband and wife panic. Vegetable crops that have been their source of livelihood are no longer growing. Meanwhile, they have no other work except planting vegetables in the garden. They have worked hard to find a way out of these difficulties, but did not find the answer. Finally, they agreed to throw their seven children into a forest far from the village. One night, when their seven children were fast asleep, the two of them discussed how to get rid of their seven children. "Sir, how can you avoid being found out by the children?" asked the confused wife. "Tomorrow morning, we will take our children to look for firewood in a forest which is quite far away. When they take a lunch break, we pretend to look for drinking water in the river," explained the husband. "Okay, sir," said the wife agreed. Without them realizing it, apparently their third child, who at that time was not sleeping, heard all their conversation. The next day, a husband and wife took their seven sons to the forest to look for firewood. Arriving at the nearest forest, the father said to them, "All my children, we'd better find a large forest with lots of trees, so we can get more firewood," said the father. "Find that," answered the seven boys in unison. After walking far, they arrived at a vast forest. How happy they were, because in the forest there was a lot of firewood. They immediately collected firewood, which had scattered a lot. When it was almost noon, the mother invited her seven children to rest and unwind after almost half a day's work. At that moment, the husband and wife were about to start carrying out their plan to leave their seven children in the middle of the forest. "All my children, you all rest here first. Your mother and I want to find a river around this forest, because our drinking water supply has run out," said the father. "Find that," replied the seven children in unison. "Don't take too long, Dad." "Mom," said the youngest. "Yes, my son," replied the mother and went to follow her husband. Meanwhile, after waiting for some time and their parents had not returned, the seven children were getting restless. They worried lest their parents get a disaster. Finally, the eldest invited his six younger siblings to go after their parents. However, before leaving the place, the third child suddenly spoke up. "Brother, there's no point in us catching up with Mom and Dad. They'll have left all of us," said the third child. "What do you mean, Dick?" asked the eldest. "Last night, while you were sleeping soundly, I overheard your father and mother talking. They deliberately left us in the middle of this forest because they were no longer able to support all of us due to the long drought," explained the third child. "Why are you just telling us about this?" asked the second child. I'm afraid father and mother will be angry with me, replied the third child. In the end, the seven children did not go after their parents, especially since it was already getting dark. They immediately seek shelter from the night air. Luckily, not far from where they were, there was a large tree that had a hollow trunk like a cave. They rest and slept in the wooden hole until morning. What shall we do now? Where shall we go? Asked the second child. You guys wait here, I will climb a tall tree. Maybe from up in the tree I could see a puff of smoke. If there is, it's a sign that there is a settlement there, said the eldest. It was true. When he was up in the tree, the eldest saw a puff of smoke from a distance. He immediately came down from the tree and led his six younger siblings toward the puff of smoke. After walking a long way, they finally arrived at the village. How surprised they were when they saw a very large house standing upright on the edge of the village. Hey, look, that house is so big, exclaimed the fourth child. Wow, call it be a giant house, said the sixth child. Just as the words left his mouth, suddenly a loud voice came from inside the house asking them to enter the house. A few moments later, the occupant of the house came out. Apparently, she was a female giant. Hey, human child, who are you? Asked the giantess. We are lost. Our parents left us in the middle of the forest, answered the eldest. Hearing that statement, suddenly the giantess felt sorry for them. Immediately invited them into his house, then served them food and drink. Since they were already hungry, the seven children ate the food greedily, quickly finished the food, then climbed up to the attic, otherwise you will be eaten by my husband. It won't be long before he comes from hunting, said the giantess. Because they were afraid of being eaten by the male giants, they quickly finished their food and crossed up to the attic to hide. Not long after, the male giant came home from hunting. When he opened the door of his house, he suddenly smelled delicious food. Wow, delicious, said the male giant while inhaling the delicious smell. Mom, there seems to be good food in this house. A small human, where do you keep them? Asked the giant male to his wife. I keep them up in the attic, but they are still small. Let us wait for them to grow a little so they are good to eat, answered the giantess. The giant male also obeyed his wife's words, saved the seventh child from the threat of the male giant. The next day, when the male giant returned to hunting animals in the forest, the female giant immediately ordered the seven boys to leave. However, before they left, he provided them with food as needed during their journey. In fact, the kind giantess had provided them with gold and diamonds. Bring these gold and diamonds. Hopefully, they will be useful for your future, said the female giant. Thank you. Mother is indeed a kind-hearted giant, said the eldest as she said goodbye. After walking far through the dense forest up and down the mountain, they finally arrived at the beach. They immediately met a small boat and sailed across the vast ocean. After some time sailing, they arrived in a country ruled by a just and wise king. In that country, they sold all the gold and diamonds the giant had given to a rich merchant. The process from the sale they used to buy plantation land. Each of them got a large enough plantation land. The seven brothers were very hardworking and always helped each other. Several years later, they have grown too. Thanks to years of hard work, they finally have a lot of wealth. Then each of them made a pretty good house. The seven men lived a peaceful and prosperous life. One day, the youngest suddenly remembered and missed his parents. He immediately invited his six older siblings to come to his house to go look for their parents together. I'm sorry, all of my brothers, I invite you here. because I want to invite you to go find your father and mother. I really miss them, and I'm sure they are still alive, said the youngest to his sibling. Yes, my brother, we also feel it that way. We really miss the father and mother who gave birth to all of us, added the sixth child. In that case, okay, tomorrow morning we will go looking for them together. Do you agree? Asked the eldest. Agree, answered the six younger siblings in unison. Next day, the seven brothers went to look for their parents. After sailing across the vast ocean, they arrived at an island. On the island, they walked from one village to another. They have visited dozens of villages, but have not found them yet. Until one day, found their parents in a village in a state of suffering. The seven brothers were very sad to see the condition of their parents. Finally, they brought their parents to live together in a nice house. Since then, the two parents were reunited and live together with their seventh child. They are always busy themselves worshiping God Almighty. All his needs are met by his seven children who are quiet rich. A story full of role models for us children. Even though our parents are cruelty of us as children, we cannot disobey our parents. Serving parents in any religious teaching is obligatory. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.